Parents of identical twins, how did you avoid getting them confused as babies? Back in the 90s, a tiny drop of nail polish on the toe, careful to be sure they can't put their foot in their mouth. Different color clothing. Most importantly, using their names with them individually is super important. Repetition of their names means they will start to look and respond to their own name early. As an adult identical twin, I have wondered many times if we were accidentally switched as babies, and all this time I've really been Tom. This is an actual shower thought of every identical twin lol. Painted the big toenail. It doesn't take long as a parent of identical to figure out who is who. We had the toenail painted for maybe a week before it was easy to tell who was who. I had a girlfriend with 9 fingers. She was very petite, around 90 pounds. She told me her mom was the same build as her when she got pregnant with twins. So in the womb, my GFS sister's foot pushed on her left hand, therefore her pinky finger just didn't develop. When I asked if her sister had a deformity, she said, "No, that bitch." So this would be 2011, they put a hat with baby on my first son and hat with baby B on my second, as well as bracelets. I was with them the whole time for the weighing and vitals check, and they take footprints right away. For my wife's sanity, she put a little Sharpie dot on baby's sole of his foot. Then within a day, you kind of just knew. They are identical. But family and all their friends can tell them apart pretty quickly even if you try and trick them. It's tough to explain unless you have friends that are twins, you understand it. I still call them the wrong name, but all parents do that. I called one by the dog's name once. That cost me an apology and a Lego set. When our twins came along, we decided to assign each a color. One was always in blue, the other in green. It started off as a practical thing. But as they got older, they each developed a preference for their own color. It became part of their individual identity. As funny as it sounds, that color coding stuck with them, and now as teenagers, their rooms are themed around their colors, their gadgets, and even their bikes. It's hilarious looking back at baby pictures trying to figure out who's who, but now, we can tell them apart by the color, or they literally chose to live. Wait, I was supposed to keep them straight? I was so afraid of mixing them up. When I brought them home, they still had their hospital stickers taxidermed to their backs, so that was helpful, lol. But they were different weights, so that also helped, and it wasn't nearly the problem I thought it would be. Sometimes I can't tell them apart in baby pictures, and they definitely can't tell themselves apart. But I have no fears that they were mixed up. Got some baby toenail polish. Baby A was painted pink, baby B was purple. After they got a little older, I could look at their face and tell. When they learned their names, they would let you know if you got them confused. Also, baby B's cry was a little more screechy than her sister's. Sharpie names on foreheads. Baby A had an internal fetal heart monitor, which caused a small scab on her scalp. Those first few days, that scab was our only reference up until we did the one toe with nail polish trick. My father and his brother came home from the hospital at different times. Knowing my grandmother, she probably had a good handle on one twin's mannerisms by the time the other came into the equation. Nail polish in different colors on the big toe. A friend did this. She told me she did both babies because she didn't want either to be jealous lol. It wasn't that hard. One was always just a bit chunkier than his brother. That one also had a scar on his chest from when liquid was removed from his lung. The freckles are different. They sound different, have different mannerisms. For my own ease, I did dress them in different colors, and I tried to keep bracelets made of embroidery floss on them. That didn't work entirely to plan. One would always rip his off, but the other really liked his bracelet, and I had to replace it when it got worn for the first 4 years of his life. People have a hard time mentally handling twins, especially identical ones, but they are just 2 brothers who look very related. Yes, I'm just hoping I did it an even number of times. Reminds me of the parents in Argentina a couple of years ago that had to have forensics cause they lost track of who's who. Color-coded socks. It's like giving each twin their own mini-fashion statement from day one. The hospital bracelets were invaluable to start, then we just painted one of their toenails. We had to really keep up with the repainting though, because if they were naked there was no way to tell them apart. Eventually we started dressing each in certain colors, and when they got old enough they got to pick their own color. Juan had a freckle near an elbow we tracked as well. I liked the idea of doing a Tomax and Zammot, permanent facial scar thing, but since they are girls my wife said that was a bad idea. One of mine had a birthmark on his head that his brother didn't have. Once they got enough hair it got harder to tell. I babysat identical twins. The parents dressed them the same and gave them names 1 letter different from each other, so name-wise I couldn't, but visually I could. One twin was skinnier and smaller than the other, not by a dramatic amount. but enough that you could see it their father was clueless and just drew on the kids' feet with something. So they were literally numbered. The thicker twin was 1 and the skinner twin was 2. Also, it was weird to see they had a favorite twin.